Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Stacy Scott, and I'm here with Graham Wickham, President and CEO of Wickham Financial and Insurance Services, and we're back again with you for our weekly wrap-up. Graham, what happened in the markets last week?
Yeah, thank you, Stacy. I think the markets kind of gave up a bit of this really nice rally that we saw since the first of the year. So not surprising to see a bit of a weakness. In the indices, we looked at the Russell 2000 down about 3.5%. The NASDAQ that rallied the most off about 2.5%. The S&P off about 1%. We saw 10 of the 11 S&P sectors really down. One key factor that maybe yields popping up, maybe the anticipation that the Fed has to stay higher for longer, maybe a little bit of all that. We think about oil. That really jumped a lot last week, up about 9% with the announcement that Russia was going to cut about 500,000 barrels of oil being distributed. If we think about, again, the U.S. Treasury yields, we still saw a strong inversion in those yields, which indicate a recession is in the future. But again, I think that's just the yields moving back up. Some of that frothiness, maybe in the short run in the market, just giving up some of those gains a bit. From an international standpoint, let's think about the Eurozone. So the Euro retail sales did fall, but we are seeing some optimism rise a bit. Maybe some concern with the recession fears moderating a little bit from the international standpoint. So we saw some good performance year to date in those international markets. The UK economic growth was flat in 2022 and narrowly missed that recession, that technical recession. The Bank of England still did indicate that they're still likely to raise rates in March, as well as the Australia Central Bank did raise its cash rate up 2.5% basis points. We think about China, who plays such a big role in production and consumption. We saw some really strong spending for the Lunar New Year in January. So that was a big surge in some of their retail numbers.
All right. Well, Graham, it seems like the markets have opened up reasonably strong this year. Is that something that you see continuing?
You know, I'd love to believe that that's just a straight line, right? But
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not. So I think you have what you had last week. We started out really strong. The yields came back down, which kind of prompted the markets to rally a bit. And as yields started to creep back up, maybe concerns that the Fed's going to stay higher longer, you know, the markets kind of gave up some of their gains, which would be expected. Because if you analyze, and took out the return from the S&P from the start of the year, that's like 100% return. That's really not realistic, right? Since we are seeing reasonably decent earnings for companies, but they're not falling off the cliff, and reasonably strong, decent consumer. So I guess long story short, I think in the short run, we probably have some volatility. We still are expecting a better year if we see interest rates moderate and the Fed hopefully, start to consider where they're at in moderating their stance a bit.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that. And I do want to remind our viewers that we have always said that we lead with education here at Wickham Financial and Insurance Services. And with that in mind, we do have a couple of classes that we want to let everybody know about. We do have a class this coming Thursday evening here at our office, and it is an investing basics class that we are hosting for our clients and their special guests. So if you would like to join us for that, it will be at 6 o'clock at our office from 6 to 7:30. We're going to have some refreshments, and you'll just learn all the basics for getting involved in investing. It's especially helpful for those of you who have young adults or like older teenagers who are starting to develop an interest in that. Also, we have our second Retirement Planning Today class scheduled for the beginning of March. It's going to be on Tuesdays, March 7th and 14th, and then Saturdays, March 11th and 18th. And we'll have more information for that on our website, or feel free to call our office and we will provide you with the details. But it's the A to Z of retirement planning. So if you are at or near retirement age, please consider joining us. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a great week.
Take care.